Hey all, boardgamerants here. We'll find everything solo, tabletop gaming, and more. Got Black Angel here for you. Comes with an official solo variant using the AI HAL. I'm going to show you how it works right now. So we've got the game set up. Now I'm going to assume that you know how to play Black Angel. This isn't going to be how to play the entire game of Black Angel. I'm going to assume you've played it or you've read through the rules for multiplayer. This is just going to be how to play solo using that deck right there. That deck is going to represent HAL. HAL is our AI opponent. And as you can see here, and I'll go into more detail, HAL just scores points for doing and receiving certain things and takes very modified actions, but similar actions, just like we will. Our play is completely unchanged. We get to just basically play like normal, and HAL will be taking actions using dice, and he will be placing missions out onto the board just like we will, but will be a simplified version of everything. And so, like I said, it's all going to be run from this little tiny deck. So I'll go over it more as we just kind of go on. This is a two-player setup, but it's modified in that you'll notice there's no neutral player here. So there's no neutral dice or anything like that. It's just you and HAL. We get the standard amount of robots here in the break room of 5. HAL gets all of his robots in the break room. But we all each start with being able to roll one of each color die, which I've already done. The Ravager deck right here is going to have 12 taken out of it, just like a two-player game. So 12 cards have been removed, and this is the Ravager deck that we've got to work with. I've already revealed 2 and placed them out here. And I've got the damage cubes there as according to setup. Got the technology tiles out here as well. Got my setup here, which is identical to normal setup. And out here we've just got 5 of these space boards that we're going to be working with, like a two-player again. And I believe that is all there is really to the setup. And then we're going to play until, of course, we reach Spec or until the Ravager deck runs out. So I think it's going to be best to, and there's a couple difficulty levels, and normal difficulty level has us both starting, me and HAL, at 5. And then the difficulties, really all you do to adjust it is basically HAL goes forward or backward by 5 points, and you start off that way. But I've just got it on normal difficulty, and you'll always take the first turn. I'm trying to make my turns quick, so I've already thought about it. I think I'm going to use this green card here, and I'm going to go ahead and we'll just activate this technology. I'm going to move one of my robots from the break room up here so we can roll more dice in the future. Now we're going to take this debris, we're going to flip this die over, we're going to come over here, we're going to get ourselves some technology tiles just to start having some, get those actions. And I'll grab this one and this one. Those are worth a total of 3. And of course, when I did that, sorry, I had to get rid of, we'll just discard this card right there. And now I've got these. I think I'll place one, kind of slide it in there, and I'll place this one, slide it in there. And we get 2. Now draw 2 yellow cards. And of those yellow cards, I think I'm going to keep this one. All right, so here's our hand. We are done. So now, HAL's turn, you just flip over this card. Flip over the top card. I guess first you're always going to want to look. If HAL doesn't have any die, and this is HAL's compartment right here. If HAL has no dice in his compartment, he's going to take a modified sequence B action. But does have dice, so that means going to flip over this card. And based on the action I took, just last, was a sequence A, HAL's going to look and is going to pick a sequence, is going to pick A action here first. And as long as HAL can do that, he will, but if HAL can't, then he'll go to B. Now, if I had taken a sequence B action, then he would start here and do this action first, and then move up if needed. And so, as it is, I took sequence A. HAL wants to use a yellow die. to take his action. And Hal is always going to take the highest of that color. So right now there's only one color, this one, yellow. Now if I had a yellow 2 here, though, Hal would take my yellow 2 and would just give me the resource like normal, and then you just grab the resource from the supply. You never have to manage any resources for Hal. Hal has no resources except for, I guess, ships. Well, resources meaning, I guess it's called resource. The resource is called resource, but you don't have to manage ships, and you're not going to have to manage technology tiles or these damaged debris cubes, or when Hal fights off Ravagers. It's just gonna get automatic points for things rather than having to manage them in some way. Just gonna be very simplified. So right now, though, Hal wants to use the highest yellow die. He is the one with the only yellow die, and wants to take this action here. This is the command your ship action. And so the command your ship action, in this particular action, it does not matter what the number is on that die. It could be 1, 2, 3 star, it doesn't matter. Just going to take this die, and he's going to place it on the action, which is the command your ship action. And all Hal does, well, one thing Hal always has to look at is if there's a Ravager card here and it somehow places damage cubes, he's going to do that, but he will ignore everything else. And if there was damage cubes on here, at least 2 of them, and this was a damaged action, he would have to reduce his die by 1 like we would. But that's it. And that wouldn't matter in this case, because when he does the command your ships action, it just doesn't matter what's on there. The way you handle it is you take that color card, and Hal is going to launch a mission. You flip over this card, and if it's an activation mission, it's going to go one place out here on this face board. And if it's, what's the other one? I always forget. But the other one that only activates once it slides off the board, I'll remember here in a second, then it would go in a different spot. But this is an activation mission. So where Hal wants to place this is as far out as possible to the part of the space board that's going to be removed last. So this is going to has to go on a yellow spot, and on this particular board right here, and the only yellow spot available is this yellow planet right there. If there was more options available, that's where these little comets come into play. The comets, if there's a comet action in the color comet option, then he's going to place that mission card on that comet. But right now, furthest away this is the only option. It's going to place that there. Doesn't have to fly a ship out. Doesn't have to do any of that. Just going to take its robot from the break room. Going to place it there to claim it. Is going to get the 2 points. So we'll go over here, and Hal's going to get his 2 points. And we still have to resolve the other stuff like normal. You look around, we see we've got a Ravager attack. So let's do that there. What do we got here? On number 5, Ravager attacks. We've got the damage cube on there. And then also, too, we're going to add these technology. So we've got a yellow that gets inserted and a green. Okay. And that's it. This will slide up there. Hal does not draw any cards, so I don't have to worry about that. And that is Hal's action. That's probably, that's one of the more involved actions that Hal does. And now it's back to us. Looking at our very limited hand here, we're going to use this. We're going to activate this card here to grab ourselves a ship. There we have it. Then we're going to come up here. We're going to use this gray die, and we're going to go right here. We're going to start repairing this ship. We're going to take this damage cube, this damage cube. There's only 3, actually, so I'll take all 3 of these damage cubes. Let's see here. Let's start... well, I know we're going to want to do this, and let's go ahead and get another resource. Oh, and I took this damage cube, or repair the ship action, so I get to flip this over, and I get to score 2 whopping points. Me and Hal, we is tied up there. Now back here, I'm going to activate this, and I think, let's just go ahead and keep working on, roll some more die. We'll put this robot, shift it right over there. And then lastly, we'll go here, and, well, let's see here. Let's see about maybe launching a a ship. How about this guy? And we can launch this fella 2 spaces away. And let's just go ahead. Let's go on over. Well, I don't know. No, I don't want to go that far. Let's just go over here. Yeah, we're going to move over to there. Because I'm going to go over here. I'm going to plan on placing a yellow mission there to block. If Hal puts a mission on a space with a comet, gets 3 extra points. I don't even remember if I mentioned that. But those comets, we want to block those comets up. Okay, so I have taken the repair ship action. I'm done. I get to put that there. I get to draw a couple. Let's go ahead and get rid of that one. And we'll keep that card right there. So now, Hal's going to go. And again, all the backs of these cards are the same, as you'll see as we flip this over. We're going to flip that over. I took a sequence A action, so Hal wants to take the A action here. And wants to do another commander ship using a green die. So, of the green die out there, his is the highest. He's going to use his. Again, in this case, it just does not matter what the number is. It's a 3, but that's not going to change anything. However, because Hal is using this space, it looks at the Ravager card, and it does. It is going to add a damage cube. Just per normal rules, it's going to go right down here. And now Hal's going to launch a green mission. Neutralization mission. That was what I couldn't remember last time. So here it is. This is a neutralization mission. So if it's a neutralization mission, he wants to place it on the part of the spaceport that's going to be removed next. So he's going to look, and on that option, he's got green here, green there. And then, because there's the tiebreaker now, which one? Always puts it on the comet one. Why? Because placing a mission card for Hal on there gives him 3 extra points. Wow, that's bad, because you can see there. So this is going to go here. He's going to get 3 points for putting it on the comet, 4 for claiming it. So Hal gets a nice whopping 7 points and is already at 14. And you're about to see, too, what happens when this card slides off the board. Any mission cards that Hal owns, Hal just gets 3 points, and that's that. That's how that's handled. So he's going to get another 3 points. This card right here will have been worth a total of 10 points for him. That one action. Not cool, Hal. So that was Hal's turn, though. This gets put back in its spot. Hal does not draw any cards. Of course, you know, as I'm explaining stuff, try not to forget things. Hal does have to activate the Ravagers around him. So we're going to draw this. That is going to go right up here. And I'm going to add a damage cube there. There was another Ravager there symbol, so we got to do it again. These Ravagers are tearing up the ship. More damage. Okay. And then we inject a green technology tile. There we go. Now Hal is officially done. Now it is officially my turn. And back to me. We've got this lousy green die there. I could buy Hal's, but instead I think I'm going to use my one Ravager here to activate this. I'm going to get a point and a debris cube. So there's the debris cube. I am now up to 8 points. And I'm going to use this debris cube to flip over this lousy green die. We're going to use this, and we're going to take the Battle the Ravagers action. And so nothing occurs there. However, I do have this nice little tile here. My little, if I take that action, I'm going to get 2 points. So I'll flip that over. Give ourselves another couple points. And let's take out 2 cards. I think I just want to take out this one and this one, so we can mitigate all the damage being done to the ship. There's that. We slide this up. Draw 2 green cards. And I think I will take this one. All right. Now, Hal's turn. I took an A action. And again, we always have to check. He does have a die in his compartment, so he's not gonna do B. He's gonna flip this over. Of course, is going to take the A because I took the sequence A, and it happens to be a gray die. But let's say he had a yellow die there. He would first look at this. Well, he needs a gray die. There is none. Then he needs a green die. There is none. So if the one color that is his only option is not on this card, he would simply get rid of, if it was a yellow die in this case, he would just get 3 points and put the yellow die back in his compartment. So that may or may not happen, but that's the way that's handled. If there's no color of die out there available, he just discards the one that's not available and gets 3 points. It's just that simple. So in this case, though, he's got a gray die. He's going to take this as 1 value, and he's going to go try and repair the ship with it, and he will. So when he does that, now we have to look at the bottom here. There's this little tiny clockwise, sometimes it's counterclockwise, like this right here, but it's going clockwise. So he's going to remove damage from the ship, starting with 1, working his way around, and he's going to remove damage on the action first before he starts removing any damage that's on the dice. So that's something to keep in mind. Of course, when we take that action, we can remove damage anywhere, but Hal has to do it in a certain way, and that is first goes around. He can only remove 1 damage, and this is the first one that he reaches. So he's going to take this, and again, doesn't collect it. Is just going to look at that, gets 2 points. So we'll just discard that. Hal's going to get 2 points, and Hal is done with his action. Okay, so now it's my turn, and we are about to do some Sequence B stuff, so I'll take care of that now. At that part of my Sequence B action where this ship moves forward, and so as I was saying, when Hal, when this board gets removed, which it will, Hal just gets this put back in his break room. This slides off, but there's the only thing Hal does with it is discards it and just gets a generic 1, 2, 3 points. A lot of times when Hal can't do something, Hal's just going to get 3 points. We'll take this, flipping it over, and sliding it right in there, catching on something. There we go. All right, so that was the end of my B action. So now, here again was where it's important, because you might just think, oh, we can flip this over, Hal's just going to have to buy my die. Nope, you always want to check. When Hal has no dice in his compartment, he's just going to take a B action. So we're not going to flip any card. Hal's just going to do the Sequence B, which is quite simple. He's just gonna, Hal's always only going to roll 1 of each die. So you don't have to worry about him adding robots and how many dice he's gonna roll. It's always just gonna be the 3 different ones. So roll those, gets placed there, and then has no, Hal has none of this stuff to have to reset like we do, which I didn't complete mine. There we go. I forgot to put all my damage into the little debris section. Hal is just going to move forward in space like we would. So there that goes. This gets flipped over and inserted like that. Okay, and that is it. That's all Hal does on Sequence B. Just rolls 3 dice, and if they had damage on him, and Hal had to take it, he'd take damage just like we would, or he'd lose a point, I should say, like we would. But that was not the case. Hal is done, and now we're all loaded up with dice, and let's keep going. Okay, first of all, we're going to activate, I think, this guy here. We're going to get ourselves a robot, put it in the break room, and then let's see here. We can draw any kind of card that we want. Let's do a gray one. Let's flip these over, see which one I may want. We'll keep this one for now. And then we're going to go out here. I think we're going to do this too, because I can see Hal would pretty much swipe that if he could, because it's the highest value. We'll go here. Ah, crap. That's right. We got to get rid of one. So let's just get rid of the one we just drew. And then I want to keep loading up on these tech tiles. I can only, let's just do these 2 then. We'll just go like this. And then we will go like this. How about that? And gonna actually get me a little extra point there. So we'll do that and that. And I think that will be our turn. We're gonna put this here. We're gonna draw a couple yellow cards. And let's keep, I still don't really have anything leaving my board yet, so I don't know which direction. We'll take that one. And that is our turn. So Hal does have dice out there. We're going to flip over his card. Okay. I took an A, so Hal wants to do A. Wants to use a green die. Wants to use the highest valued green die. That is his. He's going to use this 1. He's going to battle the Ravagers action. There's going to go right there. Don't have to pay attention to anything here. He is going to fight with a 1 value die counterclockwise, so working his way up, but has to follow the same rules as we do. That is, you have to clear an entire section. So there's 2 Ravager cards. He can't use that 1 on there, so he's going to go around to here. Finally found 1 that he can take out with that 1 value pip. Discards that. He's going to go over and going to get 2 points right there. And again, if we walked our way around and he couldn't take the action, Hal would just get 3 points. And Hal is done. Back to us. Okay, we're going to use this guy again. And we're going to go across. We're going to get a point. We're going to get a robot and a ship. So let's get this robot. Here's that ship. Here's our point. And now I really want to launch this mission right here because I want the points here coming up. And so we're going to use this yellow die right here. We're going to go right there. And we're going to take this and we're going to launch it right there. We're going to get a point for that. So from 11 to 12 we go. Now I need to, the Ravager attacks on 5. Uh-oh, 5's loaded up. Not good. There's not a good action up there. And then we're going to inject a yellow tech tile. There's that. And I go here. I get to draw 2 yellow cards and pick 1. We'll get rid of that. We're going to keep this. And now Hal's turn. Hal's got dice in his compartment. We're going to flip this over. I took an A action. He's going to do an A action. He's going to want to use a gray die, the highest value gray die. Well, they're all the highest value. So when there's a tie, he's going to use his dice. So Hal's going to use this. He wants to launch a mission. So in that case, it just doesn't matter what this is. Launching that, we can see there's no Ravager cards that would add damage. Nothing here that would reduce the value. Not that it matters. He's going to launch a mission, which is very simplified. He takes the color, looks to see what type of mission. This is an activation mission, so it's going to go farthest up on the board. On a gray space of those, there's just the 1. Places it there. Puts his robot on there. Going to get the 2 points. Hal is now at 23 points. We look around, we got a Ravager there to place on the board. That Ravager is going on number 1. We get a damage. And Hal is going to inject a gray and then a yellow technology. Okay. And that is that. So in effort to show you a little bit more about what Hal does and show you how we can still activate Hal's mission cards, I'm going to use this. And we're going to move. We're going to use this to move our ship. I wouldn't really want to do this because I want the 3 points, but I'm just going to do it. So 1, 2. So we just moved our ship over there. Now, we're going to go over here. We can buy Hal's die. We're going to spend the resource to do that. And we're going to snatch this up. And then we're going to use, remember, we can't use a debris to flip that over, but we can use this to flip over and make this a 3 activation die. We can go right on over here and activate that. So I will get a nice juicy 3 ships and 3 robots. Very nice. We'll load those up on my break room over there, but then you can also see that Hal, like normal, the person who owns that mission card gets a free activation. And in this case, Hal just takes these symbols and converts them into points. We look here, and we see that for a ship, excuse me, a ship, he gets 1 point, and for the robot, 1 point. So Hal is going to score 2 points. So it's going to go from 23 to 25 for me taking that action. So that's how it works. You can take Hal's actions, but you just gotta, and if ever Hal, like, you know, if you took an action that said, well, trade in this for X number of points, you'd always assume for Hal's free activation that Hal has the necessary stuff to get those points. So like, if this was a card and it was Hal's, and I activated it and I traded in my damage cubes for 3 points per pair, he would simply get 3 points from me activating his card. And you just basically pretend that he has that stuff to get that free activation. So that's how that works. Let me put this back and draw my couple yellow cards. And wowie wowzertons, let's keep this one. Okay, so now though, you can see I've got plenty of dice, but Hal has to check his compartment. No dice. So Hal is going to do, not going to flip over a card. Hal's just going to go straight to sequence B. So grabs one die of each color. We roll them. And then we go over here. I get slid off, so my guy gets us started. I'm going to get 3 points here. I'm just going to go under my board. I'm going to give myself 3 points. I'm up to 15 over there. Then we're going to flip this over and slide that in just like so. All right, and that was Hal's B action. All right, let's just go ahead. We're going to go over here, and I think I'm not too worried about using that, so we're just going to flip it over and activate yellows. We're going to get a nice little victory point there and another ship. Holy ships. We got lots of ships. If I can grab it. Let's go over and snatch our victory point. We're going to use these gray die here. We're going to go straight up here. We're going to start repairing the ship. Let's do, let's do these ones and these ones. I don't know. Sounds good to me. Take that. Let's go with here. We'll get another robot. Let's get another victory point, and let's draw some more cards. So let me grab my robot here. Let's get another, what did I say, victory point? Yep. And some cards. Let's just do I took a gray. Let's go ahead and do a yellow. Well, let's see here. What do we like? We don't really like either one of those, so we'll just keep this one. Okay. I am done. We go here. We get to draw 2 gray. This one might be something. And so we'll discard that. And we are done. So Hal has dice there. Let's flip this over. I took an A action, so he's going to activate A. Wants to use the highest yellow die. That's this one. And he wants to purchase technology. So we're going to go up here. So this is where the number does matter, and it happens to be a star, and that's the only one he's got. High's not going to do anything to flip his dice around or do any tricky stuff like that. So it goes up here. Again, if there was a Ravager card here that added damage, we'd do that. He'd have to take into account how if the action is damaged and reduce the die, but there's no reducing a 0. And because can't get any technology tiles, Hal's just going to get 3 points. So 1, 2, 3. And this goes right there. Now let's say, though, that this was 3. Let's say you had the maximum amount there, just for examples. So what we'd look at now is this little symbol underneath. A lot of times there's an action, and then there's a little sort of a tiebreaker-y thing down here. And this is saying that with the activation available, wants to take first an advanced tech tile and then a standard tech tile. So if this was a 3, and he'll always take the tech tiles that would be ejected first. So, and in the case of these, because they're not really ejected, he just takes the top one. So Hal, if he had a 3 there, would take this tile, and then with the 1 left, he'd go up, and the first tile that would be ejected when the time comes would be this one. So he just grabs this, and then you'd look at here, and you see that 4, and again, just converts these into points. So these get discarded, and Hal would get 2 points for the standard tech tile and 4 points for this advanced tech tile. So instead of 3 points this turn, Hal would have gotten 6. However, that is not what happened, but that is how that would play out. And then what would happen is these would get scooched up. So it's a little differently. When we take an advanced tech tile, we just take it out and replace that same spot. But when Hal does, he takes the topmost one and then slides everything up and puts a new advanced tech tile on the bottom. So keep that in mind. But that didn't all happen, and now it is back to me. In the interest of keeping on the examples here with this, because it can be a little confusing, this particular action, I have continued on because I think I've shown you pretty much everything that Hal does, and I'll just wait until endgame to show you how it all works out. But Hal was activating this. It's a 2-pip activation, and you can see the tiebreaker there is just standard tech tiles. So, and in this case, this doesn't load. If there was another cube here, this would be a 1, but there isn't. It's not a damaged action. He does nothing where that's concerned. So it looks over here, only going to be standard tech tiles, and he's not going to take this 2 right here. That would only give him 2 points. Hal has to take actions in ways that give him the most victory points. So he's going to take the ones that would be ejected first, and he's going to take 2 of them. So this gets discarded, this gets discarded, and that way Hal gets 4 points as we look there. So that is just wanted to show you that example there. Continuing on. All right, I've just played through the end. It's been a battle back and forth. This is the current state of the board here. Got kind of a guy out here, no man's land, didn't quite pan out there. But you can see that Hal's got quite a few missions out there. And I have triggered endgame. I have taken my last turn. It's now Hal's last turn because I took a sequence B. Then Hal got to go. During that sequence B, I triggered endgame, so I got one more round. I got to take one more turn. I grabbed up this advanced technology tile to get a few more points, and I placed this, so I was able to get actually a couple points off of that because this was over here. But now, tight game. Hal has got me by 5 points. Hal does not score any endgame points. So you don't have to, Hal's just going to get what he gets here at the end of this turn. And if he gets really one more point, because I think I've got 6 in the bag, but let's see what Hal does here. And again, I took an A action. So Hal's going to take a yellow die. He's going to take that one. He's going to buy it from me by giving me a resource. And takes the highest yellow die. This, he wants to do a tech action. He's going to go right here with that. Bummer. And then he wants to just get, shoot, we just did this card. I feel like he's going to take the top 2 most and discard them each. He's going to get a total of 4 points for that. That's going to put Hal at the 14 marker plus 50, that's 64 points. And that is it. That is end game. So I get to score my extra points as usual. But all I've got is this guy, which says I get 2 points for a maximum of 4 points for the green tiles here. And then I'm going to get another point for having taking these resources and ships and robots and dividing it by 2 rounded down, so that's going to give me another 2 points. So that's a total of 6 points. And there I stand at essentially 61 to 64. Hal's a tough opponent. That was a good, close game. I hope that was a good demonstration of how to utilize Hal so that you can play this game solo. I have been enjoying this. Hal is tough to beat, but that's the way I like it. And there's a lot of good, crunchy, fun decisions to be made here, and without kind of a brain burn effect, at least for myself. So I'm digging it. And until next time, that was Black Angel. I'm boardgamerants. I appreciate you watching, and I'm out.